Hi, I'm Michelle Fondin, and you should give me a rose.
No, I'm Matthew Fondin, and you should give me a rose.
This is On a Cloud, a mother and son Bachelor podcast, and welcome to episode 5 of On a Cloud and
episode 3 of this season of The Bachelorette.
With Becca.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a pretty good episode, but as predicted per Matthew, the drama that we had at the promo at the end of last episode really didn't pan out to be much of an actual drama.
Well, it does come to pass, but we'll talk about the end because it's foreshadowed more than I think anything on this show has been foreshadowed so far.
Definitely.
But we were talking about, of course, the
ambulance
scene where there's blood everywhere.
And they showed bloody towels and bloody person. And this person basically strapped to a gurney.
But the episode doesn't start that way. It starts with Chris Harrison coming in and talking to the boys.
And there were I think we mentioned there were probably 20 boys left or 21 boys left at the beginning of this episode.
Give or take, yeah.
And he says that there will be 2 group dates and 1 one-on-one date. He also said the time is super valuable, which he tends to say.
But he also says that some boys will not be getting dates at all, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Which, it happens. It happened last week with, God, I can't even remember their names. It's Mike.
Jason. I think Jason was one who didn't get a date. And I think it was Chris, the one with the long blonde hair.
Yes.
Yeah, he didn't get a date either. And as the numbers go down, however, it seems that all of them do get dates.
Yeah.
Either a group date, 2-on-1, or 1-on-1 date.
Right.
So far, there has not been a 2-on-1 date.
Well, there has not. There don't tend to be until the middle of the season.
I'm thinking that perhaps next week might be a 2-on-1, if not the week after.
It's possible. I think they've exhausted all the clips of Jordan we've seen so far, so that probably means that he gets the boot soon.
Yeah. Either that or David, his White Knight nemesis. The arch nemesis.
Yes, but also there was kind of a 2-on-1 date this season with the spa date, which kind of unraveled as time went on.
Yeah, it was a little bit uncomfortable, but it actually turned out pretty well. So the first date was actually a group date.
In
the beginning, however, before everyone is chosen, they do show a scene where David, so the chicken, or the venture capitalist chicken.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And Jordan are talking at the beginning of the episode, and
it's in the morning, and David is making eggs, and it's look, Chicken Man's making his eggs.
Okay.
Alright.
People do make eggs.
Yeah.
He's making eggs all the time. And then Jordan starts talking about himself, which, go figure, Jordan talking about himself. And he says something that it reminded me of George W. Bush when he used to make up words. You were so young. I don't remember if you remember when he was president, but
I know who he is.
He used to actually invent words when he was giving speeches, and people would make fun of him because he didn't have a very good vocabulary. So Jordan says
that's business savvy. You got to use words like synergistic and energons.
And so Jordan says, I have professionality. And so we actually had to look. Well, Matt looked it up to see if it was an actual word.
It does sound about right, but at the same time, Mom managed to find it uncanny enough that she doubted it was a word. It is not.
It's not a word. So Jordan says, I have professionality. And again, he's referring to himself in regards to David, the guy who is his
Which is
nemesis,
weird because
apparently.
I think he has a hard time insulting David because on one hand he's the guy's got no sense of humor, which implies he's too serious, and then he's he's not a professional at all, which means he doesn't take his job seriously.
It just doesn't make much sense. Also, it's just this really funny artificial. It's just really bizarre.
You can tell that David's not really being bullied either because he's kind of taking it with the weirdest grain of salt I've ever seen, where he's trying to act like he's the smug champion between the two of them, but he's so not, and the other boys don't like him either.
And the really weird thing is, David, and you'll see this later in the episode, but David keeps needling Jordan at some point.
He does. He's the
really
counter villain,
weird.
Which that's actually something I've never seen, where usually the White Knight is offended and they scoff and walk out of the room.
And then they go talk to another one of the bros in the house. They're like, can you believe that? Can you believe that person?
Or they go talk to the batch. But in this case, he does. He goes on the offensive, and it's actually pretty interesting to see.
Yeah.
It's more fun than, the kind of very tension-filled, uncomfortable sort of interactions that sometimes villains have where you're like, oh, well, that's actually something real they're very insecure about.
Definitely.
And I don't like seeing this play out.
Right. And I think Jordan has kept really to his role that he's really an actor and he is really this model who's just trying to boost his career a little more.
Yeah, well, for an example of this is when he gets one-on-one time with Becca later on, he immediately starts talking about how good and great he is, and then he's like, oh, but you're cool too.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yes, 100%. Like, he's always talking about himself, like, 1,000. And he said something like, I'm so pretty and you're pretty too, and I need to be with a pretty person, or something like that. Oh my God,
he did say something like that. But, like, it's crazy to me, because usually they'll drop the act around the batch. Usually they're like,
yeah.
You know.
They'll try to be a genuine person. Like, even, do you remember the one villain from Rachel's season who was like the cowboy, Lee?
Yeah.
It seemed that around Rachel, he tried to be genuine.
Yeah, he tried to look respectful and look like...
Like he was really interested in her.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, that is an example of that. And like even Crystal, well, I don't know. Crystal kind of had trouble keeping up that act.
Yeah, but I mean, she did, but she also played the little girl, like, crying and very serious and like,
it was kind of
everyone's
weird.
Picking on me.
Yeah.
You know, versus, like, trying to
But we
herself.
are getting ahead of ourselves because, first of all, we actually see a meeting between Becca and the 5 girls that were on our couch from last season.
Yes.
Which is Kendall, Tia...
Becca.
Becca.
Not Becca, but Becca.
Yeah.
And Cien.
Yes, Cien
and Carolyn.
Caroline
or Carolyn?
Caroline, yeah. So they're talking, and then she says, but there's one boy in the house I'm concerned about. And then she turns to Tia, and Tia's like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
And she brings up Colton. Yeah.
Colton, and she says to Tia... It's really funny because I've never seen this on an episode of The Bachelorette where she says to one of her friends, I'm going to need to pull you aside and we're going to have a private talk.
She goes up to Tia and she's like, Tia, can I steal you away?
Yeah, it was so funny because that's never, ever, ever happened.
Yeah.
I'm going to need to steal you away.
So they have a little talk and she tells Tia about Colton and she basically wants to know, and that's sort of the goal of this date overall, is whether Colton came onto The Bachelorette assuming that he would be with Tia.
So Tia would actually be the Bachelorette because, of course, if you guys remember the story, that the breakup between Becca and Ari really didn't happen until
a month later.
The airing. Yeah, pretty much the airing of The Final Rose, which cut it pretty darn close to the filming of the new season of The Bachelorette.
Right, yeah.
Probably Tia was a front runner since she was one of the finalists. So then the group date, there are 6 guys. So there are six girls, including Becca, and 6 guys. So we have Colton, Jean Blanc, Wills, Jordan, David, and Jason.
Yeah, and their date card says, like, prepare to be pampered or something. But then they go inside and Becca's like, ha! Just kidding. Massage these girls.
Yeah, then she's like, you guys are gonna pamper us. And you should have seen their faces. Like, their faces kind of fell.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Which, you know, I guess that makes sense if you're expecting, like, ooh, we're gonna have a nice little relaxing time. But they did end up having fun. It was very cute. They riffed off the other girls pretty well.
And the scene opens with Jason and Colton sitting by this fountain wearing, like, pool boy clothes.
Oh my gosh, that's right.
They made them dress in these, like, attendant clothes.
Yeah, no, they were very funny.
So they're wearing, like, white button-down shirts with khakis.
Like Mormon dress,
yeah.
Yes.
They look like... And so they're, like, sitting there in front of this fountain in this Zen garden. And
what were they talking about? They were talking about something completely asinine.
No. They were talking about the fact that Colton was a little bit nervous because of what happened with Becca.
Oh, yeah. They were talking about Tia.
Yeah, they were talking about Tia. But they didn't obviously know until they went in that they were going to see Tia.
Right, so kind of a... Well, I guess it's not that
Maybe it was a producer foreshadowing.
It's possible.
Yeah, so they were talking about that, and then all the boys go in, and of course Colton's, like, beside himself with the fact that Tia is sitting right there.
And she's like, hey, and he's like, oh, hey.
Yeah, he was so
not super comfortable.
Uncomfortable. And even Tia was really, really, really uncomfortable.
Yep.
But it seemed like the date went well.
It did. No, it was a good date.
Yeah.
It was a good date. They like all massaged each other and whatnot, and then the boys got all their nails painted.
I thought that was hilarious.
That was very funny.
That was really, really, really funny. And it wasn't like clear nail polish either. Like, Some of them got blue nail polish and red and pink.
Yeah, and some left it on for the little one-on-one portions afterwards.
Yeah, I think like maybe 5 out of 6 of them left the nail polish on. I was really surprised.
I know Jean Blanc did. I know
Jordan did.
Well, of course Jordan did, because he was like, I look ridiculous in this. And it's like, well, why'd you leave it on? They probably gave you remover.
I think David did too. David left his polish on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And speaking of nail polish, during the pampering portion of the date, I think it was Jean Blanc, like, figured out what removed nail polish. And they were like, ooh, I'm so impressed. What was it again?
Oh, acetone?
Acetone. Okay, yeah.
Acetone.
I was going to say, like, turpentine, but that's not right.
I thought that was really cute. Yeah, it was really neat. It was just neat to see the gals and the guys, and they looked like they were having, like, so much fun.
They did.
So after the pampering session, then they get the after party.
Yes.
And Becca was doing a toast in the after party, and apparently Jean Blanc, like, grabbed her as soon as she was done making the toast. And the other boys were not so happy. They were like, what happened? What did he do?
It was actually pretty smooth.
It was so
he was
smooth.
showing her his nail polish, and then when she grabbed his hand, he was like, actually, let me. And then he took her hand and zipped her out of the room.
It was really funny.
It was very good.
She really likes Jean Blanc.
She does. I like him too.
I like him too. Good. I think he's gonna last a while.
I do too.
I really, really like him a lot. So then you see her with Jason. Now, Jason we have not seen a lot. Jason did not get any of the dates last episode.
Who's Jason?
He kind of looks like, okay, I saw on the Twitter feed for The Bachelorette that he resembles a movie star, but I can't remember which one it was now. So it's kind of a movie.
I think all movie stars look the same anyway, so I'm not sure
okay, so he has like a really pretty face, not distinct face, but he has like dark brown hair that's kind of greased back.
Is he white?
He's white.
Oh, yeah. Greased back hair. Yeah, he looks kind of
like
Italian.
Dracula.
He looks Italian.
Yeah, he looks Italian, definitely.
Yeah, okay.
Now, it's really funny because Becca has not had a lot of time with Jason, but she seems to be super attracted to him.
Yeah, this was weird. I mean, he seems like a perfectly respectable dude. He seems nice. But at the same time, we didn't see much of their conversation.
Yeah.
So it's hard to see where the chemistry is coming from.
And she just even said to Jason, like, I feel so embarrassed around you. I feel giddy. I feel shy.
Part of the reason for this might be at the beginning of the date, she did forget his name.
Yes.
So maybe she was overcompensating a little. We're like, oh, but it's so weird because I have a little crush on you and I totally didn't slip up.
Right.
Anyways. But it happens. Like, honestly, you've been a teacher. You should know that, like, trying to remember 30 names at once is difficult.
Hard to remember names.
I can't remember their names. And
I can't remember names to this day.
I have Google access to their names whenever I want it. She doesn't. I don't know.
Jason goes in for the kiss, which was so surprising. Like, it seemed like within the first couple of minutes that they were together, but maybe they've been talking on the couch for a while. I don't know.
Maybe they had. It was within the first couple minutes.
But, like, he goes in for the kiss, and she is totally into it.
She is, yeah.
She's, like, smooching on him.
No, she likes it.
Yeah, she's totally into it. Meanwhile, it flips back to the couch where the boys are talking about Tinder swipes.
We get an insane conversation. So, how did this spark off again?
Well, David said, so David was the one who sparked it. David said to Jordan, so Jordan, tell us again, how many Tinder swipes did you have in 1 year?
Oh, yeah, and he's like, 4,000. Was it 4,000?
4,000. No, it was 4,000.
Stop using Tinder that much. That can't be good for you.
I just don't understand. First of all, I didn't understand what that even meant.
Yeah, no.
I'm not a Tinder user. I think that's like beyond my generation.
Well, okay. Yeah.
It's more for the younger generation, isn't it?
It is. But in essence, basically, to swipe right on someone is to say that you like them. And if they also swipe right on you, you get a match.
And so, like, okay, if I swipe right on, let's say, Jason. If I swipe right on Jason, then does he get a notification?
No. Not unless he has
Really?
Tinder Plus or whatever. You have to buy a subscription
you have to buy a subscription.
Which if this guy got 4,000 matches in 1 year, probably has a subscription.
So is Tinder just booty call?
Okay. In theory, no. In practice, yes, probably.
Really?
Well, kinda. I don't know. I don't know that many hard
Serious
relationships
people?
are built off of it. That said, though, I do know people who, like, go on actual dates for it, and it's not just, like, a matter of boning down.
Okay.
I also do, I'm in college and whatnot, where sometimes actual dates and meeting people are just booty calls at the end of the day.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure. So I guess Jordan is getting a lot of booty?
Or
potential.
Or potential.
Yeah.
So then David looks at him, and he's like, so that's got to be a pretty high match rate, right? About 100%. And he's like, yeah, it's it's got to be 100% or something like that. And I'm like, okay.
And then, you know what's crazy is that, like, this is the part where David, like, continues to grill him. Literally grill Jordan.
Yeah.
And it gets so uncomfortable. So you have Jean Blanc and you have Wills sitting on the couch. And Jason, I think, sitting on the couch. And they're, like, sinking into the couch.
I think this happens after her conversation with both of them. But yes, no, the other boys are
they're
not
so
having it.
Uncomfortable.
It is.
They're literally, like, covering up their faces with their clothes.
They're also, like, smiling and laughing the whole time. Because they're just arguing like crazy. They threw some insane insults at one another. Oh, man. I forgot what did David call Jordan?
I don't know. Oh, I don't know, but Jordan says later that he's a golden retriever, but he says that to Becca.
He says that about himself.
Yeah, about himself to Becca, but I don't know what he says about Jordan. I can't even remember.
I can't remember either. It made me just as uncomfortable because my face had sunk into our couch and my ears
had
blocked off because of it.
So bad. It was really, really bad. And like at one point, you could see Jordan was uncomfortable at one point.
Yeah, no, I'm sure he wasn't happy.
Jordan's like, why does he keep picking on me? And you know, obviously Jordan is very braggadocious. Like he's he's always talking about himself.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like being like verbally attacked over and over and again, and like David wouldn't quit.
Yeah, no,
he wouldn't stop.
Usually the White Knight will cut their losses after a while and just be like, "Well, you're stupid," and then walk out of the room. But
exactly.
That did not happen here.
It was really super uncomfortable. So David goes to tattle on Jordan.
Yes, he does.
He goes tattling.
A strange tattle.
Yeah.
Because all he says is like, "Well, Jordan's out there talking about."
Well, he does say Jordan's not here for the right reasons.
Oh, he does.
He does.
Oh, okay. I was wrong then, I suppose.
So that's how really when you say someone's not here for the right reasons, that's really how the game is played, where players are calling out other players to try to get them booted off.
Yes,
really.
more or less, yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of the main line. They're not here for the right reasons.
Yes, that said though, more often than not, it is kind of a double suicide kind of thing where
so if you're the tattler, you usually are not long for the...
I've never known a tattler who wins.
No.
Because usually it's obvious. Like, that's the thing, is it's part of the reason that this is all manuscripted is that since they say those things around all the other boys in the house, they're like, man, that batch, once I get married to him, I'm gonna throw all you boys in the trash compactor. And everyone hears this, and then the one dude that loves Becca isn't saying, he said he's going to throw us all in a trash compactor.
Right.
Then that's like, well, then he probably knows, oh, okay, this is just the producers trying to shill something onto the show or whatever.
Right, exactly.
Anyways.
So David tells on Becca. Becca gets up and says to Jordan, hey, Mr. 4,000 swipes. And she holds up her hand. And she offers him a high five.
And she's like, come on, it's a high five.
And so Jordan, like, hesitantly gives her a high five.
Yeah, he's like, am I good? It was very funny, though.
It was so funny.
Becca took it in stride. That's one of the few tattles I've seen that has fallen through so poorly. And that's because, for the most part, Jordan is harmless.
He's totally harmless.
Yeah. I've honestly, like, I have the least problem with him out of any villain I've ever seen on the show.
100%.
Like, even Chelsea got on my nerves, even though she was a minor villain. Bibiana was miserable to watch anytime she was on screen.
Yeah.
Crystal was really bad later in the season.
So horrible later.
So like the fact that Jordan's kind of hesitating and like, am I in trouble for saying this? Is very, very charming to me. It's so funny. Cute.
So then Jordan gets couch time with Becca, in which he says something to the effect of like, well, I'm an attractive guy. Yeah, I get Tinder likes or swipes or something.
He just talks about how cool he is.
Yeah, and then he talks about how attractive she is, but she just stops him, and she's like, so, what do you like as a boyfriend?
Yeah, she's also not even smiling at him while he's talking about how great he is, because she's like, is this guy for real?
And she's like, okay.
Yeah.
But what's really funny is that she does engage in conversation with him, which I was so surprised. She's like, so, what do you like as a boyfriend?
I don't know, if someone came up to me and was like, I'm so good. I'm the best. I'm so great. You'd be a good fit for someone as great as me.
Because you're pretty and I'm pretty.
Yeah,
we're going to be pretty together.
All right, see ya. I've made a prior engagement. So
she asks him genuinely, so what do you like as a boyfriend? And he says, I'm like a golden retriever. Which is hilarious because I was telling Matt that we have a Twitter feed, On a Cloud Podcast. That's our Twitter handle.
Yep.
And I've been following the Bachelorette Twitter feed.
Yep.
And one of the things was, like, Jordan was on, he's always on, they have him posted. This is why you know that he's talent and not a real person.
Yep.
Because they have him on almost every single Twitter post in video. They have, like, on the Bachelorette Twitter feed.
Yeah.
There are posts of Jordan sayings, like, pretty much every other tweet.
Yeah, no, that is kind of unusual. I can see what you mean by that. But at the same time, the boys do say some pretty quotable things sometimes.
But this is like a Jordan cameo, though.
Yeah.
And so where it's like the cameraman asking him, or the producer asking him questions.
Oh, right.
And Jordan's making a comment on it. So
Gotcha.
Jordan was saying something about fashion or something or other. But I was like watching that. And so my tweet was, Jordan is like the puppy that I never had. And I said some other things. So
Which is a crazy tweet
Go
to say.
to our On a Cloud podcast Twitter account. Like us.
And see Mom make a dog persona
reference.
Called Shot.
Yes. And then in this episode, Jordan says he's a golden retriever. I think that's freaking hilarious.
It's a coincidence. I'll give you that.
Definite coincidence.
But
so
yeah,
Becca just said,
much
you know,
fun
like,
with that.
I'm in a goofy mood. I can be lighthearted about this whole Jordan thing. Like, she says that
Yeah,
to him,
no, she
right?
did say that. Which,
She's
you
like,
know,
I'm in a goofy mood. I'm lighthearted about this. I think it's funny.
That's fair. It is. I can respect that.
Who gets the rose for this group date?
I have no idea.
I think it's Jean Blanc.
No, it's not.
It's
She
not
doesn't
Jean
get a
Blanc.
second. I think it's Grease Boy.
Is it Jason? Huh. No. Okay. Oh my God, we forgot to talk about Colton.
I was about to talk about Colton after you said
Okay,
the
so
group date
talk
was.
about Colton. This is during the group date, though.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so talk about Colton.
Basically, she stops Colton and pulls him into the corner, and then she gives him a little Q&A on whether he's here for the right reasons or he came here for Tia. He gives the right answers, and then she says, all right, you're good on the show.
And she smooches him.
And she does smooch him. Yes, that's right.
Like a lot.
I don't remember the specifics, though. Do you have any...
I think she just
Mom...
said, like, I really, 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 really like you. And the thing is, and I was baffled about this in the last episode, too, that the amount of energy that she put into Colton and said, like, how much she actually liked him.
Because usually, at the first sign of resistance, it's a good idea to cut a boy.
Yeah.
With some exceptions, like Peter and whatnot, where, you know, the second drama is sparked up. If you have that strong a connection, you can't really cut them. But generally, they tend to not be worth the effort.
And I really didn't think Colton was going to make it, and you didn't either. Because
no, not even a little bit.
He was my catch-up pick at the end of the first episode.
I thought he was going to be like that first episode dude that was from Becca's hometown, and she's like, this sucks, you're done.
Yeah, exactly. But... there's this weird connection between her and Colton, which leads me to believe that Colton's going to last a long time because
he seems legitimate. I kind of like
legitimate,
Colton.
but I also think that maybe she knows him prior to this.
It's possible.
Because, like we said, a lot of the contestants tend to know each other outside of the show because they've been on the show.
Yeah.
But she really likes Colton. Colton actually gets the group date rose.
Okay, he does. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
considering...
and all the other boys are like beside themselves because they knew this whole drama that unfolded with Colton.
Yeah, I know, of course. But yeah, no, you also brought up the point that like, oh wait, she's shared a man with Tia before the last batch, so not that weird.
That was
really.
so funny. I really didn't think of that because I thought, wouldn't that be weird to date your friend's like former date? Because it wasn't really a boyfriend. They had gone on a few dates.
I still don't know that it would. I don't know. This is a sticking point
weird.
for both you and Becca. But...
yeah, I just think it would be weird. But they both shared Ari.
Yeah. Exactly.
And, like, Ari was pretty darn serious about Tia, too.
Yeah, also, Becca and Tia say I love you to each other when they have the little friend exchange. So I'm like, all right, I guess they really are very, very good friends, unlike what I thought.
Exactly.
They give each other a little tearful hug. It's very cute.
It is very cute.
Anyways.
So, the next date that we have is a one-on-one.
God, bad date.
And Chris gets the one-on-one. Now, we don't know much about Chris. And this is, I think there are two Chris's, because I think there's a blonde Chris and a brown-haired Chris. This guy is the brown-haired Chris.
Are there two Chris's?
I think so. I think the guy with the long blonde hair.
No.
Oh, no, he's not? No, he's a Mike.
He's
or
a
a John.
Yeah,
sorry.
or a John.
Okay, no. This is the only Chris.
Actually, no, you're right. There are two Chris's. Chris H.
Oh, Chris H. Oh, yeah. Chris H is my date. He's my date inside my heart.
Noted. Yeah, no, Chris Don I don't count as a Chris because he's a Chris Don.
Yeah, he's a Chris Don. So Chris, okay, the only Chris then.
Yes.
It's settled, gets the one-on-one date, and it's very uncomfortable.
Okay. In his defense, I don't think this is Chris's fault. I think this is the show's fault for giving him a very bad setup.
Date's fault.
Yeah. Which we talked last...
It's a bad date.
We talked just last episode about how great one-on-ones usually are because they're usually not very tension-filled. They're competitive, you know?
Yeah, and because, like, they get a ton of time with the Bachelorette. They have the entire day. They usually have super fun activities. And then they get this awesome dinner at night. Or not dinner, because they're not really eating. But they get this awesome, like, romantic setting at the end of the day.
Unless you're Ari, in which case you're just shoveling food into your throat between words.
Exactly.
I love your family. Roast beef. But yeah, so they're the date with Chris. The date with Chris. Basically, they go to some record label.
Capitol Records.
They meet some man I've never heard of.
He is... I don't know.
They meet some man I've never heard of.
He's a singer/songwriter.
Mom's like, every time he played a song, Mom's like, I know the song.
Yeah, I know the songs, but I don't know the guy.
I don't know the guy either.
I can't remember his name.
But Becca's very into him, and she asks him to play a little bit of a song for them, and it's very cute.
It is cute. But she seems very at ease, like meeting a star.
She does, yeah. No, Becca's a great TV personality.
She's a what personality?
TV. Great TV
personality. Great TV personality. She definitely is. I thought you were saying like a Myers-Briggs type personality. No. I was like, what?
No, sorry, continue though. You were imitating Becca?
No, I was just saying that she was like really fabulous. Like she just meets stars and she's just like, okay.
Yeah, no, it's great because sometimes there's like, well, I don't know. I also kind of like the Rachel thing where they're like, is that Lil Jon? That's Lil Jon. And then you run over like, Lil Jon! And they're just kind of really excited about it. Because, there are normal people coming on this show on one hand. They can't really be like, yes.
Oh, yes.
The Justin Timberlake is looking wonderful this year.
Yes. The thing is, their task for this date is to write a love song to each other. Now, this is super awkward.
Woof.
They don't know each other.
Yeah.
They've probably had one conversation before.
Like, we don't even know
if
Chris.
That.
I'm
one freaking conversation.
I'm pretty confident in my writing skills to at least an intermediate level where, I feel like I could write something okay.
And I'm a writer and I couldn't freaking do it.
Yeah, that's what
With somebody I don't know?
That's what I'm saying. But this guy is not a writer. He's like a physical therapist, because all the boys on there are physical therapists.
Or like personal trainers.
Yeah, so the fact that he has to like rhyme a song and all that is just, it's rough. And then when he reads it aloud, like, the reaction's not going to be like her being swept off her feet, because there's no way it could be, because it's pure silence and they're on a TV show.
Exactly. And so it's this super awkward moment, and I commented to Matt that it reminded me of Ben Stiller. So if you guys like Ben Stiller and you've seen Ben Stiller romantic comedies, Ben Stiller constantly plays this really uncomfortable guy trying to woo the girl. And that's exactly what it reminded me of. It just like this really uncomfortable moment, a really awkward and uncomfortable
at the museum
guy.
Is a touch point if you've seen that.
Yes. So, I don't know. It's just, and then Becca does kiss him and she like gets all mushy with him. But I felt during that date that it was more a pity move. Like I felt that.
Okay, I don't know about that. That I think that might be a harsher read on the situation than maybe it deserves, because what he does say is that he's talking about how he has trust issues and issues of vulnerability because his dad left him, which it's that tends to happen where people kind of tell their life story to the batch and they receive,
and a lot of them have like
sympathy for it,
hurtful backstories.
They do.
A lot of us have like dysfunctional homes we come from. They have lives, so I mean it makes sense. They're like real people.
At the same time, there's usually chemistry in that.
Yeah, I just felt like the chemistry wasn't there.
That would be my read on the situation. Where they probably do like each other. They're probably attracted to one another.
It just felt forced.
Maybe a little bit.
Yeah,
it wasn't like, because even relationships I didn't necessarily support entirely. Like Ari and Becca is an example. Maybe later on in the season, but I was behind Ari and Becca at first. Their first date, you could definitely feel like, oh, that went really, really, really well.
Yeah.
After this date, I was like, I don't know that he's a front runner.
Yeah,
it wasn't like last episode.
She did give him the rose, and she did say she was on cloud 9 with Chris on the date. Now maybe, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to tell.
Becca's just very into all the boys at once, so she's like, man, he's amazing. best boy I've met so far. And then another one walks in and she's like, what a dreamboat. I would like him for my boyfriend,
I felt that Ari kind of did that too.
Maybe.
Yeah, I felt like Ari was very much like that, whereas Rachel wasn't at all like that.
No, she was like...
She was super selective.
No.
Yeah. She was really, really selective. So this is where we cut to the scene where we see bloody towels on the floor. And then we see oh no. And we cut to a guy that says, I just woke up and I saw David lying on the floor in a pool of blood.
It looked like he was attacked by a bear.
Yes.
And all the boys are by the banister watching him get carted out. And then Lincoln's like, don't die, David. Please don't die.
Yeah.
And it's like... Calm down.
It was freaking drama. It was crazy. And the thing is, they played it up way too much.
Also,
they were like...
yeah, not to mention, after this, there was a jump cut to Jordan on a couch sitting by himself, like, Jordan's killed David and is ready to bask in the blood.
Crazy.
It was insane.
They were like, I don't know if he's gonna make it, man. And then all of a sudden you hear... And Chris Harrison is at Becca's door. And she's like, hey, Chris. He's like, can I come in? She's like, you're worrying me a little bit.
And then
He's like, something happened at the house last night.
And then Chris pulls out a clue board and has a little totem representing each of the boys. And he's like, in the observatory with a candlestick. God, can you imagine the Bachelor clue?
That would be awesome.
I love that. That would be so good.
Yes.
Oh my. Okay, NBC, if you're listening.
ABC,
if you're listening. Bachelor clue. It would
that
be the
would
best.
Be so good. Season 14 of The Bachelorette.
We have to tweet it at them until we get a trademark license. Anyways.
That would be so good.
That'd be very good. Anyways, so he comes
Jordan with the hairbrush in the bathroom.
We could have a real map of Bachelor Mansion as the clue mansion.
Oh my god, that would be so awesome.
Anyways, whatever. So, Chris Harrison walks in and he's basically like, something happened to one of your men. And she's like, oh no.
She's like, you're really worrying me now, Chris.
Yeah, but okay. He doesn't stop building it up when she says that. He builds it up for another 10 minutes where he's like...
He's in intensive care.
He's in intensive care and we don't know if he'll make it out. And then and then he's like, David fell out of his bed last night. He'll be fine. And she's like, okay. And he's like, do you want to talk to him? And she's like, sure. And then he hands her a phone and David's like, hey, Becca, how's it going?
It was so crazy.
I knew it. I knew it was going to happen. I knew it wasn't going to be anything real, but it blew my mind how, like, small and inane it was.
And then we're like, how did he fall out of bed? And then all of a sudden it flashes to Jordan putting up a guardrail on the top bunk.
And he's like, I'm David-proofing the bed. Which, like, they're already making jokes about what happened. They're probably, you know.
Oh, my God.
Oh, jeez.
So, apparently the story is David fell out of the top bunk and busted his nose.
Yeah.
So then at the end, can I talk about the end of the episode where they do a promo of David coming back?
Oh, yes, fine.
They do a promo of David coming back and they don't show his face. They have those bars or the squiggly lines going through his face or the fuzzy lines going through his face.
Censor bars, you mean?
Yeah. And they're like, oh my god, did you see his face? It's all crooked.
It's worse than I ever could have imagined. Like he's Harvey Dent coming back for like Two-Face. Hello, Becca. I can't.
So crazy. It's so fake. It's so bad.
Yeah, I'm beside myself.
Because at least in Rachel's season when who was the guy that was the wrestler?
Kenny.
When Kenny came back, like, and his nose was bleeding and his eye was bleeding, he's all busted up. Like, at least it happened from a real thing. Well, okay. They weren't fighting, but it was like a play fight.
It was a play fight, yeah, and he got hit with a wooden sword. Yeah. Now, that said, though, I don't want to disparage David, because I get it. It sucks to fall out of bed and hurt yourself for such a silly little reason. Right. But at the same time, I think I should blame ABC for the fact that they played it up like it was the murder mystery of the century.
Right, like some boy, like, that Jordan murdered David.
Yeah.
And then, of course, they say Jordan does get a cut that said, like, I wouldn't hurt a fly. Do you remember that?
I think so. Yeah. Where this is like, of course he didn't do it. Anyways.
Then we get a group date, and there are tons of boys on this group date. We have Clay, Lincoln, Blake, Leo, Connor, Garrett, Kriston, Ryan, Mike, and John, which I don't even know who Mike and John are. And maybe Connor. I don't know who Connor is either. They get a football date.
They do. Which, is, well, some of the boys here are either football players or former football players.
So Clay is a football player.
And one of
he's
them...
a professional football player. And one of them is the Harlem Globetrotter, which he's pretty
basketball.
I know it's not football, but that means he's pretty athletic himself.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I know there's another guy who used to play football. It's this cystic fibrosis guy. He's not?
Colton.
Okay.
But
that's Colton?
Yeah, it's Colton.
Oh.
But Colton's not on this date.
Not been pretty
however... They all, they're doing warm-ups, and they get 2 girl football players from a professional football team to train them, from the Women's Football League, to train them. And they all make fun of Lincoln, because apparently Lincoln's never played football before, being from Africa and the UK, probably.
Hey, neither have I.
Yeah,
Lay off the guy.
they don't have American football over there, so that's pretty expected.
Right, it kind of makes sense.
But do you notice that Clay is, a pro at this, obviously?
Well, or
that's
even,
his job.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Even if Lincoln had lived in the U.S. a long time, which we don't know, but even if he had, it'd be weird. It'd be like if I moved to England and they're like, never played cricket. What a normie. And I'm like, all right, well, come on, lay off. I don't care about cricket. I'm from the U.S.
I've barely even heard of cricket.
I mean, I'd probably know how it works just from cultural diffusion, but at the same time...
Baseball?
It's like...
Kind of.
It's like bizarro baseball.
Yeah, it's really weird, and I think it lasts forever. I think one cricket game lasts 4 or 5 hours.
Jeez. All right, anyways.
So crazy. So, yeah, they play football. They get into teams. It's not super impressive. It's okay. I think the date itself is okay.
Well, that's funny, because Becca said it was her favorite group date of the season.
Maybe she really likes football.
She either really likes football, or she was just glad there wasn't any boy drama in
there wasn't any drama in this one, except for the fact that Clay gets hurt. Now, he gets hurt by himself.
He does. Yeah, no,
he's
no one hurts
actually,
him.
Plowing through all the other boys to make a touchdown to impress Becca.
Yeah.
And he falls down at the goal line.
And breaks his wrist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So...
Although, props to ABC for not putting, another fake-sounding bone snap noise,
Right. Exactly.
And then blood spurting out of the wound, he's dead. I saw it happen. The ground has murdered Colton.
So, it's kind of ironic, and Clay even points out the irony that he's a pro football player, and he has to go on The Bachelorette to get injured playing football.
Yeah, well, he was probably going way harder than the other boys, but yeah, it is, I guess.
I think he was probably just going way over the top, too, because he wanted to impress the girl.
Uh-huh.
And so, during the after party, Clay has to make a decision, which is really weird, because Becca gives him the date rose.
The group date rose,
yeah, the group date rose. And what ends up happening is Clay gets this... I don't know. He gets this moment of clarity where he realizes that the fact that he got injured and he has to, I guess, get surgery. I don't know. There's something that's happening. He has to get surgery on the wrist, or he has to get it set or something like that.
Yeah.
And he also said something to the fact that he had about 10 years left in his career. He's a young guy.
Yeah.
And as we know, that pro football players don't last very long.
No.
They usually retire by around age 35, on average.
Well, retire pretty well, but yes,
yeah,
that is
on
true.
average they retire around age 35. So he says, I've got about 10 more years of football, and this is how I support my family.
Yeah.
And he said, so I don't think it's fair to Becca to put her, on hold with the fact that my football career is going to come first.
Yes. Which, that is a legitimate thing to think. He said something that was crazy to me, which is this isn't just any girl, this is Becca.
Yeah.
And I'm like, alright, you didn't know who she was coming on the show. That's another thing that's crazy to me. Well, she is just another girl to you.
Right.
She's not only another girl, she's another girl that's dating 19 other men who you have to compete with to get her.
Exactly. And the other thing that baffles me is, as you said, Matt, at the beginning of this, is this is a marriage show.
Yeah.
This is a freaking marriage show. At the end of the show, you get engaged to be married. Which means that, if you're not at a career point where you can get married, why are you on the freaking show?
Yeah, well, that's definitely fair, which is
it's just
a
like
big complaint with
Jacqueline in
Peter.
Ari's season. Jacqueline in Ari's season's like, I've got to do my PhD. I've got another 6 years of school.
Well, why'd you apply?
Why?
Yeah. I mean, maybe they thought they wouldn't get that far. Maybe they did just want to be on TV. But no, Bachelor also just has this weird narrative of like, Becca is an attractive woman, and she's a very nice lady. She's very confident. I like her a lot. But at the same time, they've got this idea of like, if you're not a fit for her, you're not a fit for anyone. You're unlovable if you get kicked off the show, which is a very like common thread throughout.
Well,
all
and
the
it is really weird because as you see as the season moves on, is that the closer we get toward the end of the season, when people do get cut, whether they have feelings for her or not, they seem to be so devastated by the rejection. And it's like...
And sometimes these are like first episode people.
Right.
Who are like,
it's like they're crying on camera as they're getting cut. And
like, I thought I saw a future with her.
And not to mention that they're like, why did that person reject me? And it's almost like, well... First and foremost, you're not going to click with everyone you meet. And second of all, it's a show about making a choice. And you have one person at the end.
Right. They walk off and they're like, well, time to die a virgin.
Yeah.
And
or they're like, my self-esteem was built up before this show and now it's down in the dumps. I guess I'm not lovable.
Which I get it. It's rough. But breakups are hard. They're emotional things. But it's an inoffensive breakup when you're also leaving with 18 other people.
Exactly.
Like, I have stronger connections with someone else in the house is not necessarily, I think, a very personal thing to take.
The thing is, when you date like this in the harem, which I don't think many people do.
I would hope not. It is not. It has a 1% success rate. It's not very good.
Right. But when you date in a harem like this, like, you have to know that like you're gonna be cut over somebody else, probably.
Yeah, definitely. You can't come on expecting to win, which maybe, like I said, is why these people are like, oh, my career all of a sudden is very important.
It's very important to me because they think that perhaps like this was just a fun thing, and now I've got to go back to my career. So,
anyways, Clay.
So Clay has to render. Becca. Yeah, he has to render his rose.
But
and Becca's like broken up, isn't she?
She's really sad about it, which was surprising to me because he seemed like a really sweet person. I get it. He had a great first gimmick where like they played with some clay and he was like, "I won't forget my name." It was very, very sweet, but it was. I was sad to see him go. He was a good lad.
He's a really, really nice guy. Kind of like seeing Kenny go in Rachel's season. It was the same thing. You understood why he went.
Yeah,
but it was just sad to see him go.
Did Becca cry? I don't remember when Clay left.
You mean Rachel?
Becca when Clay left.
Oh, when Clay left. I'm sorry. I was talking about Rachel and we went to Becca. I'm so confused. Yes.
Okay.
She was crying.
Yeah, which I guess, in hindsight, it does make sense because thinking about the time they spent together, it did feel pretty real.
Yeah, it did feel definitely real, and I think she looked at Clay as being real potential as a mate.
Yeah.
And she even said something to the fact of like, I just want to stop now. I don't think this process is working.
Yeah.
I was like, what? I was like, she has so many other connections with so many other boys.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it is pretty confidence shattering when something like that doesn't pan out.
But I really, really respect Clay and his decision and the fact that he didn't let things get more serious before he made the decision to leave.
Yes, I agree with you.
That was super
definitely.
respectful.
Well, yeah, and that was Peter's mistake where the night before they got married, he was like...
No, they were going to get engaged.
He was like, well, I'm going to have to let you go. And that was also Ari's issue where when he had doubts, he didn't voice them at the start. He was like, well, this isn't working. I'm going to have to let you go. Yeah.
So, I just liked the fact that Clay was upstanding about it. Yep. Becca, at the end, we did not get a rose ceremony.
No, we didn't.
I was so sad.
All we got was the David is now cousin
disfigured.
It from the Goonies.
We thought he was like Quasimodo.
Yeah.
With his covered face.
That's the only promo we got.
Which realistically, he probably just has a little Band-Aid on or something.
Yeah. Well, now we are at the stretch where I can recognize most of the guys, though. So this rose ceremony is going to be interesting where I think I know who she's going to cut. Probably a long blonde-haired dude. Maybe Leo.
Right.
Some other folks.
I don't think Leo has a standing chance.
Maybe. But
maybe Jordan, or she might keep Jordan on another episode. I think Jordan's
going
to get a
2-on-1.
He's going to get a 2-on-1.
Oh,
at
definitely.
some point with David.
Because who else are they going to give a 2-on-1? Like, Lincoln's drama is over. Fortunately, I think that drama wasn't as fun as Jordan's drama.
Yeah.
But yeah, he has to get one.
So, Matt, I've got a question for you. Before we wrap up, if you were to predict at this point, because we're only on, what are we on, episode 3 of the season?
Yeah.
And I think there are, 9 episodes total?
If I were to call it a winner?
Yeah, so if you were to call it a winner, who would you pick right now? I know it's...
Probably Garrett. She really likes Garrett.
She likes Garrett.
Because she pulled him aside on his one-on-one, and she was like, you're such a good sport about only getting group dates.
Yeah, that's true. She did do that.
And he's like, yeah, well, you know, I want to spend the time with you, despite having complained about only getting group dates beforehand.
Now, this guy's... Just the fact that Garrett hasn't had some one-on-one time with her... It doesn't mean she doesn't like him, because Peter in Rachel's season had the same thing where he had one-on-one date, but he got nothing till almost the end. He did get the first one.
I think part of that though is that
if they're sure about someone,
right? Yeah, I'm not sure about someone, but they're like, all right, this guy's a keeper. He's good. He's in the clear.
Yeah. I think if I had to guess now, I would say Colton is going to Fantasy Suites. I don't know if he'll win. Colton is the one who went out with Tia.
You think Colton's going to Fantasy Suites?
Colton's going to Fantasy Suites.
Fantasy Suites is 4 people left.
3 people left.
3 people left. Yeah, 4 people's hometowns. 4 is
yeah.
hometowns. 3 is, yeah.
So I would say Garrett, Colton, and God, I was going to say Clay, but now Clay's gone.
You're going to say Clay, really?
Yeah.
Jean Blanc?
Jean Blanc, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe Jason will go to hometowns. Jason is Dracula. We'll call him Dracula.
No, I don't want to call him.
His hair looks like Dracula.
It does look like Dracula's hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, maybe. I don't know, man. Didn't feel sparks flying from that. Maybe
really?
That's just me. She does seem to like him, but that's the thing is that
she was macking on him.
It's hard to say. With Rachel, you always knew where she stood on any boy at any given time. She was very easy to read. But with Becca and Ari, it was both kind of like,
I like everyone.
all these beautiful men and women can do whatever they want to me.
Yeah,
I'd park my shoes under their beds any day.
Definitely. So what do you guys think? You can post it
on
our Twitter feed or email us
podcast
at gmail.com.
Yeah, or post on our Twitter feed. Our handle is On a Cloud.
On a Cloud Podcast.
On a Cloud Podcast. Yep. Okay, awesome.
So thanks so much for joining us. Please subscribe and share with your friends.
Thank you. We all appreciate you listening. We're glad you're going on this journey with us. I hate it when they say journey on the show.
Yeah.
So that's a wrap. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.